Hello and welcome to Bags of Action. My name is Pete and this is a 5-minute review of the 2019 movie Triple Threat. I was really looking forward to this when I first heard about it. It's got a great cast. It's got Tony Jaa from Ong Bak and Fast and the Furious 7, Iko Uwais from the Raid movies and also Mile 22, Hu Chen from Kung Fu Traveller, John Wick 3 and Skin Trade, Michael J. White from Spawn, The Dark Knight and Skin Trade, Selena Jade from Arrow and also Skin Trade, and Scott Adkins from Doctor Strange and Hard Target 2 and many of his own movies, in some ways the Van Damme of our time. This was directed by Jesse V. Johnson, who also directed Savage Dog and Accident Man, so he has worked with Scott Adkins a lot before. Jaa has worked with Adkins before, as has Michael J. White, and as I said before, 3 of the cast were involved with the film Skin Trade, and Selena Jade and Michael J. White are also both appear in Arrow, so it felt a bit like a load of friends kind of getting together to make a movie. In some ways, this is a bit like a low-budget Expendables, because it's got lots of the non-theatrical release action cinema stars of the time. So it throws you straight into the action. There's a big military scene at the start. It almost reminded me of the Predator village scene, but with no explanation or context, so you really are kind of scrabbling to kind of work out what's happening. There's some initial one-liners. Go to hell, you first, when Scott Adkins is revealed. And straight away I knew I was kind of in for an interesting ride here, because it kind of blends the military, mercenary side of the story with some kind of espionage bits and pieces, and also some amazing martial arts. It reminded me of a lot of the films I watched on VHS in the late 80s or early 90s, but the thing here, instead of the Westerners being the heroes with Asian villains, this was the other way round, which was a much more interesting take, as the heroes didn't have to always be a fish out of water like in films like Kickboxer or Bloodsport. To have a Thai, a Chinese and an Indonesian lead in a film set in that part of the world made the whole dynamic more interesting and refreshing. The pace of this film is far more relentless than a standard American movie. It reminded me of some of the old Jackie Chan films. But the character depth and plot coherence do suffer as a result of that relentless pace. Sometimes something happens halfway through story-wise, which I felt didn't really make sense. I think teenage me would have loved this a lot. It's a bit like kind of something like Double Impact in some ways, but it was lacking in focus. And really, at times it becomes like a chase film where the bad guys are chasing the good guys, and then when they meet up, they're going to basically fight in order of preference and like take it in turns, which is a little bit old school. Having said that, Jaa and Chen are both amazing martial artists, and that is there for everyone to see. For me, it's Uwais who is the one that stands out, because not only has he got the great martial arts skills, as we've seen in the Raid movies, as we've seen in Wu Assassin, he's also got star power. There's something there, something that is a little bit different, a bit like someone like Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee or Jet Li. So he's got the acting ability and he's got the martial arts skills in equal measure. This film is also a reminder that Scott Adkins is a brilliant fighter. He's far more capable than some of the kind of 90s leading men. And he has the acting chops. He definitely has the acting ability. And, you know, I remember his Batman audition, but I think he deserves a bigger budget role at some point where he can take the lead. The fight scenes in this movie are very, very good. In fact, all the action set pieces are. This is a brilliantly talented cast of martial artists. But having said that, the plot is a bit of a damp squib. It just kind of meanders along, and I find it a little bit frustrating and at times boring. But as soon as any of the 2 main characters are together and fighting, then they light up the screen. With a decent story and this cast, this could have been a B-movie classic and one we talked about for years. Instead, it's a bit of an unforgettable film, but with some amazing set pieces. I still think it's worth watching, but mainly for the fight scenes. It's not really going to engage you story-wise. So, with all that in mind, I give Triple Threat 2 bags of action. Have you seen Triple Threat? If you have, comment below or get in touch with us via email, Facebook or Twitter. All the links are down below too. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for regular 5-minute and full-length reviews.